So guys, yes, I'm talking to you, bro. Welcome back to another episode of Juice Made TV. And today we have something quite, I would say, juicy, unfortunate. I have no idea what in the who's going on to talk about. But you guys know, bro, coming from a guy who's been keeping up with Kentucky this entire season, I've been super high on this overall Kentucky team. I've been saying they're going to win the national title. I still do think they can. But I personally never in my entire life would I ever think that I would even see or even hear people utter the words, fire this man, Coach Calipari, bro. Go on Twitter, go on YouTube, just go anywhere on social media, bro. You're going to see people having conversations on if Kentucky should fire this man, Coach Calipari. And guys, I feel like we got to talk about it. For those who don't know, Kentucky first actually hired Coach Calipari back in 2009, and he's actually been with Kentucky for about 15 or so years. I'm pretty sure if you were to ask a lot of people out there as well, that most people would definitely consider Coach Calipari as a quote-unquote recruiting mastermind. I mean, over his entire career at Kentucky, he's always been regarded as a guy that's going to get the top recruits in each of the high school classes in every single year, bro. He damn near brings in the top class as a whole, or top 3 to 5 classes each specific year. I mean, Coach Cal is definitely a guy that also helps his players get to the NBA as well. And he's usually that start to help those players actually propel to actually go to the NBA. And I mean, just to name a few, bro, you guys know, I'm pretty sure you guys know this already, but you have guys like John Wall, who was the #1 overall pick in the 2010 draft. You have guys like DeMarcus Cousins, Karl Anthony Towns, Anthony Davis, Jamal Murray, Tyrese Maxey, Devin Booker. Guys, this list honestly just does not even stop, bro. And I know people can have their opinions on Coach Calipari as far as him being a coach or him getting the job done, but you honestly cannot deny Coach Calipari's ability to get top guys into his program and actually help them get to the NBA. And we will touch upon this a little bit more later, but to get a little bit more juicy, to get a little bit more touchy, to get a little more granular than things I know you guys want to hear about. Ever since this man, Coach Calipari, has actually been at Kentucky, and despite having the insane recruiting classes that he's been having over the past 15 years, he's only managed to win 1 national title in his career at Kentucky, and that was actually back in 2012, whenever they had a pretty solid team that consisted of players like Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, Anthony Davis, and then 2 years later after that, he also went to the 2014 national championship, but he unfortunately lost to Connecticut, I believe, and he just did not get the job done. But since then, bro, since 2014, bro, this man at Kentucky has failed to make the NCAA finals ever since 2014, so we're on a 10-year streak here, and most people would definitely say that it's been pretty underwhelming, especially with the talent level that he has each year. Now, me personally, I'm not here to even hate on this man, Coach Calipari, or to say he's a bad coach in any way, shape, or form. I'm not here to say none of that, and that is not what this video is about, because I personally have a ton of respect for this man, Coach Calipari, and what he does. Forget the politics. The fact that this man, he does things that coaches wishes that they can do, and what he has done, I mean, it honestly speaks for itself. And he's actually turned this Kentucky program into one of the more premier, programs out there in overall sports. A lot of people really do look at Kentucky as those Lakers, the Yankees, the UConn women's team. Like, Kentucky really is that team, and I feel like we can't just discredit everything that this man, Coach Calipari, has done. And I feel like a lot of you guys really should agree with me on this. But we are in 2024, and I know a lot of people might have the question, despite him having all these recruiting classes, despite him bringing in all the top guys, how in the who can we go from that to this man, Coach Calipari, being in the hot seat? And why are people wanting this man to actually get fired and for Kentucky to move on? Now, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, Coach Calipari and Kentucky, they've only managed to acquire 1 national championship during his 15-year run. And I really want to emphasize, bro, it's super hard to win a title. It's super hard just to even get to the finals, to make it to the Final Four. So yes, they have 1 national title, but I personally don't really discredit him for that, just because I understand really what it takes to get to that level, to get to the Final Four, and to actually win. I mean, these are 1-game, single elimination types of tournaments. So if you really put context to it and not look at it at a surface level, like I said, I'm not here to really bash this man, Coach Calipari. But like I mentioned, he only has 1 title in the last 15 years. And then in this season, in the 2023-2024 season, as it's going, he's led Kentucky to a 16-7 record as I'm recording this video. I believe that they're 5th in the SEC at the time of this recording as well. And they've actually lost 3 straight home games, which has never ever been done in their school history. And now they're actually on the verge to potentially not even make the NCAA tournament if they continue to go on this streak that they're on. Now, you guys already know how I feel about this Kentucky team and their deficiencies. And guys, I say this every single video, bro. The thing that is going to make or break this team is the coaching, is the lineups. And it's going to be, unfortunately, this man, John Calipari. And I know people always mention the defense, this, and that. They can't guard rebounding. But the defense is one thing. But I feel like this roster just has too many guys that can really do the same thing. And at times, I feel like it can definitely cause confusion for, this man, Coach Calipari. And sometimes he doesn't even know really even to throw out there who to end games, who to start the game, and whatnot. But, I mean, you have guys like Robert Dillingham, Reed Shepherd, DJ Wagner, Antonio Reeves that can practically do the same thing. And as good as each of these players are, I feel like at times, sometimes some of these players are out there too long and sometimes they're not out there enough. And I mean, same thing, with the bigs on this team with Trey Mitchell, Big Z, Aaron Bradshaw, and Yenso. Like, the same thing applies to them. And I feel like at this point, heading into March Madness, I feel like Coach still hasn't even really found his true 5 players that is really going to be playing in certain moments or in pivotal situations. And, recently whenever they played against Gonzaga, I don't know what was going on with the coaching in that game. Within the last 10 or so minutes, this man, Coach Calipari, damn near played the same 5 guys for, I think, the last 11 minutes in that game. And I feel like this was a really big moment that I know people will probably look back on, because you have a guy like a Robert Dillingham who's people consider the best scorer on your team and even on the entire nation. And he wasn't even touching the court the last 10 minutes of the game, especially in the situation when you put context to it. Kentucky was down by 2 points with the last 15 seconds in the game. And instead of bringing the best scorer in the nation that can get a bucket on anybody, attack the rim, shoot the ball, get fouled, do what he needs to do, he instead told Reed Shepherd to throw a lob to Adu Thiro. And that pretty much ended the game right then and there. And I'm not sure what was going on in that specific moment of time, but like I said, the coaching right there, that's just a big moment that I know a lot of people are going to look back on. Now, looking at the pros and also looking at the cons, I feel like this is definitely something that people need to really understand and people need to really look at if they do decide to fire this man, Coach Calipari, because like I said, from a surface level, it looks like it could make sense just from what people are saying. But when you really take a look at the pros and the cons, I mean, I feel like the cons definitely outweigh the pros. Now, to look at some of the cons, I feel like if you do fire Coach Calipari, move on, you're definitely going to get a new environment. It's going to be something new for the fans. It's going to bring a different guy that can bring different types of schemes, different types of recruiting, coaching overall. And they probably don't have to pay somebody the same amount that they're going to be paying this man, Coach Calipari. But if you do look at the cons, bro, I mean, like I said, I think the cons definitely outweigh the pros. But just looking at some of the cons, I mean, the recruiting, the fact that this man, Coach Calipari, is a magnet when it comes to bringing in 5-star recruits to the program. So I'm not sure if the same type of caliber of guys are going to be still going to Kentucky if he leaves. I feel like the culture, you're essentially destroying the culture of Kentucky. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, this is a premier program and this is all led by John Calipari, whether people want to agree with it or not. So if you're moving away from that, bro, you're literally destroying what Kentucky is. And I personally don't think that's worth firing him over and moving on to the next guy, because it's not going to be the same, bro. People are not going to be looking at Kentucky the same. I feel like the same thing with Louisville whenever Rick Pitino was there. Ever since he left, things have just not been the same. Same thing with Syracuse. So when you fire a guy that's been there and has helped your program in numerous amounts of ways, on and off the court, bro, your program is literally just going to go downhill. And I personally don't think, as bad as people were saying he's been coaching this season, it's just not worth it, bro. And I think we just need to just give it some time. I'm personally still high on Kentucky this season. I still think, they have what it takes to do what they need to do. It's just going to come down to the coaching. If they can rebound the ball, they can play defense. A lot of things just need to go according to plan. And I do think Kentucky is good enough to beat every single team out there whenever they are locked and loaded. But that's just my personal opinion. You watch this video. What are your overall thoughts about Calipari? What are your thoughts about Kentucky? Do you think they should move on? What are your honest thoughts? Let me know down below, guys. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.